It's Thanksgiving week in America, and here at the A Game, we've got the latest App State sports news as you prepare to go to family get-togethers this week.
After a bye week for the football team, the Black and Gold is taking on Georgia State in a Saturday afternoon game on the road this week. A Game has that major implications on the Sun Belt standings. We've got more info on that coming up.
You also won't want to miss men's and women's basketball updates from the weekend when the women's team played in a thrilling game on Sunday and the men's team just returned from the Puerto Rico tip-off at Myrtle Beach. All that and more now on the A Game. The Appalachian State men's basketball team fell to Iowa State 104-98 in the first round of the Puerto Rico tip-off in Myrtle Beach Thursday night. Despite the loss, two players scored over 30 points. Junior Ronshad Shabazz scored a season-high 32 points with 21 in the first half alone. True freshman Justin Forrest scored a career-high 32 off the bench. Forrest torched the Cyclones for 26 in the second half, keying an App State run late in the game. After trailing by just 4 at the half, the Mountaineers found themselves down by 18 with under 10 minutes to go. After a 16-6 run, the Mountaineers couldn't close the gap any further despite Forrest and Shabazz's strong play.
The Mountaineers lost Game 2 of the Puerto Rico tip-off 86-67 to Western Michigan. The Apps came out strong and the game was tied 40-40 at the half before things fell apart for the Mountaineers. The Mountaineers went scoreless for the first 7 minutes in the second half, finding themselves on the receiving end of a 15-0 run from Western. Despite the loss, Ronshad Shabazz continued his strong play at the year, scoring 25 points while also dishing out 4 assists.
The Mountaineers went on to play UTEP on Sunday. Sophomore guard O'Shawn Williams scored a career-high 19 points off the bench to lead the Mountaineers to a 76-72 victory against Texas El Paso in their final game of the Puerto Rico tip-off. Williams had a great all-around game, knocking down 4 threes to go along with 7 rebounds and 5 assists. Ronshad Shabazz, the team's leading scorer, got into foul trouble early and finished with just 12 points. The Mountaineers led 42-28 at the half, but UTEP scored the first 16 of the second half to take the lead. Williams was key down the stretch, icing the game with 2 clutch free throws before the end of regulation.
Our App State basketball coverage continues now with A Game college basketball analyst Jake Babick, who just returned with the men's basketball team from the Puerto Rico tip-off in Myrtle Beach. A 1-2 trip over the weekend, but after this long weekend of 3 games, 1-2 in those 3 games, the team really gets to know each other. What do you think they saw from themselves, and what did you see from them in this weekend's tournament?
I think the team really discovered a little bit of identity about themselves. You know, this was a trip that we've had scheduled for a year now. And coming off of our 2 non-Division I games, we knew that these games were really going to test us. You know, opening up with Iowa State, Big 12 team who's been in the NCAA tournament 6 straight years. We played them competitively. We had an opportunity to win throughout the game, but unfortunately just came up a little bit short. Same thing with Western Michigan. You know, that's a team that's picked to win their conference, the MAC. They were a really good team, experienced team, led by senior point guard Thomas Wilder. He played really well throughout the tournament. But this was just a whole collective effort of App getting together and, like you said, trying to figure each other out. And I think this was a great first step in what's going to be a promising season.
And we talked a little about the point guard situation. You know, Shabazz has played so well at the point guard position so far this season, but the reserve role, O'Shawn Williams, Justin Forrest, we talked about that a little bit last week. What did you see from that position kind of, you know, playing out this weekend, and how do you think that's going to play out the rest of the season?
You know, Shabazz did a really good job for this being his first official playing the 1 in college basketball. I think he did a really good job. He's still got a little intricacies of our offense that he has to figure out, just when to attack, when to throw the next one, little things like that. But like you said, having guys like O'Shawn and Justin coming off the bench and kind of relieve a little bit of that pressure, it really helps Shabazz out. And when we have people who are capable of handling the ball like O'Shawn is, it really just creates another facet defensively that they have to deal with.
So what did you see from the defense? I know a couple of the games, the one in Western Michigan, there was a loss, and the game you just won yesterday. Started the second half pretty slowly, gave up a pretty big run there in the second half. What do you see from this team, and how do you think they can fix that moving forward? Because that's going to be something they're going to really have to deal with in the second half starts.
Definitely. 2 straight games, the team, both opponents that we played ended up going on 15-0 runs, something like that. There's really no excuse for that. You come out of the locker room, whether we were tied against Western Michigan, and then the next game we were winning by 14 against Texas El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are just things that can't happen. But I think going forward, that's a problem that we've recognized, and that's something that the kids have recognized. And I don't think that that's going to be a problem going forward.
How about the defense? Against UTEP, only 4 steals, 1 block. Did out-rebound them by, I think, almost 20 rebounds. What do you see from the defense in the tournament, especially against UTEP?
UTEP was a really long, aggressive team. They had a 7'1" center, older kid. He did really good today. I thought Griffin and Jake Wilson did a great job on him defensively. But coming into the game, we knew that their biggest thing was going to be crashing the offensive glass and trying to out-tough us.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that we reacted to that call really well. And so defensively, although, like you said, we only got 4 steals, we were able to play in the gaps. We were able to get deflections and kind of disrupt their flow offensively. And that it showed in the first half when they only had 28 points. Like we talked about, they went on that big run to start the second half. But then after we settled down a little bit and kind of controlled that, took a hit and then hit back, we were able to finish off the game.
So Coach Fox has talked a lot in the offseason and the beginning of this season of how this team is really going to change from last year shooting-wise, especially on the perimeter. Shabazz was 0-3 on Sunday in the win, but over the weekend, the team as a team shot 37% from the three-point line. What do you see from that, and how do you think that's going to be utilized this weekend against Davidson?
I think it's going to be really well utilized this weekend against Davidson. The last couple of years, we've been near the bottom of the Sun Belt in three-point percentage, and that's a credit to the guys on the team. They're getting in the gym after practice. They're coming before practice on off days, getting up extra shots, shooting on the gun, just getting opportunities to get more shots up and get their reps in. And going up against Davidson, one of the most high-powered offenses in the country, who's kind of similar to us. They like to pass the ball, they like to move offensively, and they put up a lot of threes too. So I think that having that new and improved three-point ability is really going to help us. How
do you think they play? So they go on the road Tuesday against James Madison, then come back home after Thanksgiving on Saturday against Davidson. After that big, three games over the weekend, you think that's a really big building point for this team, and they play well Tuesday and Saturday?
Definitely, it's a big building point. Anytime you can get 3 games like that against good competitive teams, it's only going to help your program. None of the games this past weekend were blowouts by any means. I know we didn't get the results we wanted, but they're all learning experiences. Going forward, we're playing a good team in James Madison, who we played last year. We were fortunate enough to beat them in overtime, so that was a good game. And then going up against Davidson, we're going to get a chance to get a little revenge from last year. So I think motivation-wise, it's all there for the team.
All right, so they'll play James Madison on the road this Tuesday, return home after Thanksgiving for a Saturday tip-off at 7 against Davidson. So we'll be sure to keep up with the team this week. I'm sure you'll be there as well. So thanks again for joining us here on the A-Game, giving us insight for App State college basketball now and the rest of the season. So we'll see you next week. And next on the A-Game, we're going to continue basketball coverage. We've got women's basketball, a really, really tight game over the weekend against Davidson in women's basketball. We'll got that. Also, football had a bye week this past week. They got a huge game, biggest of the year in the Sun Belt Conference against Georgia State. Got coverage from that with Jay Boyd from the sidelines at Kid Brewer Stadium. That's all next on the A-Game.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
The football team had a bye week to prepare for the tough game coming up against Georgia State on Saturday. Jay Boyd was at Kid Brewer Stadium talking with some of the players and head coach Scott Satterfield.
We're here at Kid Brewer Stadium as App State just finished up another football practice. App State enters their bye week at 6-4 and 5-1 in the Sun Belt Conference. They come off of a big win last Thursday night against their rival, the Georgia Southern Eagles. App State enters the bye week looking ahead next week to the Georgia State Panthers, another team that is 5-1 in the Sun Belt Conference. Those two teams will play next Saturday as App State looks to maintain the lead in the Sun Belt. App State seniors A.J. Howard and Devin Stringer had much to say about the defensive strategy going into the bye week.
We're watching film every day, taking practice a lot more seriously and everything, kind of just really honing in on what they do. And we know we're a pretty good team too, so it should be a good matchup. The biggest thing is win these last two games. I mean, they're playing two really good teams, State and I think Lafayette, which are two pretty good games. And if we can win those, we're really confident. That's huge. That's our goal. Georgia State's always really good in their passing. They always usually have a great quarterback. Of course, they have good receivers, and their passing concepts, their passing routes are pretty good. So, just trying to stay on top, getting the best pass rush we can, make sure our linebackers are pushing windows and, keeping the quarterback contained, and just making big plays, really. When it comes down to a passing offense, you have to stay on top and you have to make big plays.
I think last year they had a really good defense, and I think they do again this year. I mean, that last year was 0-0 at halftime, and so I think defensively a lot of the same pieces are there for them. A little bit different scheme, but they're still playing very well on defense. They're keeping everything in front of them, not giving up many big plays. And then offensively, I think the quarterback's playing really good for them. And Penny Hart. Penny Hart's had maybe arguably the best year as a wide receiver in the Sun Belt, and he's a dynamic player. And I think they do just enough running the football to keep you honest, but I think they want to throw the ball and get the ball out to those big guys on the perimeter and let them make plays. And they finished out games. They've been in some close ones just like we have, and they've been able to win a lot of their share. And I think that's probably more than anything is Sean's been able to instill some confidence in them to finish out games.
The Georgia State passing attack will be what App State has to focus on this week as they look to stop Penny Hart, Georgia State's star wide receiver. For AppTV and the A Game, this is Jay Boyd.
Every now and again, volleyball teams have to go to a fifth set during an exciting match. However, App State's volleyball team went to its 15th fifth set of the season against UT Arlington in the first round of the Sun Belt Conference tournament last Thursday. The Mountaineers made an upset happen with the help from the girls on the net. The defense for UT Arlington couldn't keep up with the tempo of the App State offense. Seniors Ashlyn Brown, Cassidy Stevenson, and Courtney Sullivan all played like it would be their last. The upperclassmen stepped up in the final points of all 5 matches to push the black and gold to victory. On Friday, the team faced Louisiana in the quarterfinals, but dropped the match in 3 sets. Emma Longley led the team with 11 kills on the day, with Kara Spicer tallying 10. Emma Riley led the defense with 18 digs, and Ashlyn Brown had 33 assists. It wasn't an above 500 season for the Mountaineers, but an improvement from the 2016 season. Here at the A Game, we're proud of the volleyball team and the season they've had. We look forward to the future coverage of the black and gold for the 2018 season.
The App State women's basketball team hosted Davidson on Sunday in what turned out to be a near miss for the Mountaineers. Redshirt sophomore Kayla Craven scored a season-best 15 points, and freshman Lainey Gosnell scored a career-high 20 points, but their effort wasn't enough as the Wildcats won 59-57. Trailing 57-51 with just under 2 minutes left in the game, Gosnell hit a 3-pointer on back-to-back possessions to tie the game at 57. After Davidson's Justine Line scored to retake the lead, the Mountaineers failed to get a shot off in regulation to lose the game. A-Game reporter Brittany Zavatsky was at Holmes Convocation Center and has more on the game.
In a tight game, it came down to the final seconds between the Davidson Wildcats and App State Mountaineers. In the last 16 seconds, Lainey Gosnell hit a 3 to tie the game, 57-57. In the end, the Wildcats prevailed 59-57. This is the closest the Mountaineers have been all season to a victory.
It's really an opportunity for growth for our team, and I think you'll see our team continue to grow. I mean, we went from 40 points, now we're in the 50s, and realistically, when we started this season after we lost Maddie, we returned 5 points. So to see them already be able to put 57 points up, I think we just got to stick with them, and we just got to keep getting better.
They take on North Carolina A&T Tuesday at 5:30 in Greensboro, North Carolina. Reporting for AppTV and the A Game, I'm Brittany Zavatsky.
The wrestling team finished in 5th place out of 12 teams at the Keystone Classic over the weekend. Competing in Philadelphia, 2 Mountaineer wrestlers managed to finish 3rd overall in their weight classes. The those two being Forrest Privish and Alan Clothier. Both Privish and Clothier lost only one match the entire tournament, going 5-1 apiece.
Coming up, we have a Mountaineer Spotlight with an athlete from the mat and a player of the week whose first career start was a standout. Stay with us here on the A-Game.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Welcome back to the A-Game, and it's time now for Mountaineer Spotlight, where this week A-Game reporter Jay Boyd got a chance to catch up with Forrest Privish, an App State wrestler who was named the SoCon Wrestler of the Week last week. Privish is a junior here at App State and is leading a strong Mountaineer squad who is already off to a great start this season. Here is Jay Boyd with more on Privish as a wrestler and as a person.
I'm Jay Boyd here with Forrest from the wrestling team. You're one of only 2 seniors on the wrestling team. How does that feel?
It's nice to be in your senior year, you know, trying to be a leader for the team and a captain. So it's just, you know, it's a leadership role being a senior.
You spoke on leadership. What types of things are you trying to do to make the new guys feel comfortable and even keep the older guys motivated?
Just trying to have a good attitude about everything. Sometimes, you know, negative attitudes can be really contagious and cancerous, and you just gotta make sure you're always being positive and keeping a positive attitude when you're in the room, so the younger guys see that, you know, it's a really hard sport, but it can also be a really fun and rewarding sport if you know, if you work hard at it and you know, keep a positive attitude.
Has Coach spoken to you about creating a different role for your senior season?
Yeah, a little bit, just about stepping up and being a leader, and being a leader for the younger guys on the team, and pulling some of the younger guys up and making them realize that, you know, you're never too young to win, and you know, there's some younger guys in key positions this year that we're going to be depending on in some of our duels. So, you know, just making sure that they know that you know, their training is where it needs to be, and they're capable of doing good things this year.
You're a senior, so you've kind of been there, done that. You had a couple of big matches, a couple of big match wins last year against some in-state schools in Duke and North Carolina. How does that feel to compete against those guys?
It's great. I mean, those are some of the most fun duels. They're in-state duels, like you said. So they're just, no matter where they're at, whether they're here or away, they're always going to be packed and intense. And you just, you know, you really, those are some of the most fun duels, is those in-state teams, UNC and Duke. So those are loads of fun.
You guys just had a big one here last weekend. How was that?
It was fun. Thought we wrestled really well from top to bottom as a team. There's always room to improve, and we've been working on our mistakes the past couple weeks, and we keep getting better. But you know, good crowd for the first match, especially because it was kind of an afternoon match on a Saturday or Sunday, and it was a weekend. So, you know, usually those matches aren't quite as crowded, but we had a good turnout. It was a lot of fun, good atmosphere, just all around good outing for us.
You spoke on the crowd. That brings in some pretty big crowds for these wrestling matches. How does that motivate you guys to perform?
Oh, it's just a ton of it's so much fun. You know, no one wants to wrestle in an empty gym. Whether the fans are for you or against you, no one wants to go to an empty, dead gym and wrestle. It's just not as exciting. So, you know, the app wrestling fans here are awesome, super motivating. You know, they're a little bit wild. They get loud for us, and it creates a really great atmosphere to wrestle in. It's very fun.
You've seen a lot of different atmospheres. Do you like wrestling at App the most, or do you like going to the away gyms and wrestling it against that crowd?
By far and away, there's no place better in the country to wrestle than in Varsity Gym at App. It's one of the coolest, best atmospheres, and it's probably my favorite part of wrestling at App State is the home duel meets. It's just you can't beat it.
You're a senior, you've been here for a while. What are some of the most memorable things that you remember from your time here at App?
Just some of our bigger home meet dual wins have been super memorable when it's, I mean, you can just, some of the close matches we've had where you can feel the tension in the air, and it's all coming down to those last 1 or 2 matches, whether it's like 97 and heavyweight, or, you know, if we start at a different weight, it could come down to anybody. But when it comes down to the line like that, it's just a lot of fun, and it just makes for a really memorable, good experience, especially when you come out on top.
You were just named SoCon Wrestler of the Week. How does it feel to be recognized?
It's nice. It's a nice little accolade. You know, it shows you that you're moving in the right direction. You know, I think myself and most of the guys on the team have, you know, higher goals. So it's a nice confirmation that you're headed in the right direction. But it's nothing to get hung up on or too proud of. It's just, you know, it shows you that you're moving in the right direction, and just keep working hard and you know, keep making improvements.
The team as a whole seems really close-knit. Seems like you guys have a good time together. What types of things do you guys do outside of wrestling to build those relationships?
There's, you know, most of the time we're together is you know, in the wrestling atmosphere. But just, I mean, even when we're up at our athletics, lifting weights and stuff, we're together on all the trips. It's just, we got a really good group of guys this year. Lots of fun, you know, on the bus rides, we play a game called Mafia. I don't know if, but it's just a load of fun, just anything to pass the time, and it's a fun group of guys, good group of guys all the way around.
You spoke on passing the time. There's obviously, you guys spend a lot of time together. Do you guys play video games of any type?
Yeah, a couple guys on the team play different video games, some Xbox or PlayStation here and there. But I mean, overall, I think Coach, you know, tries to keep us away from the video games as much as possible, and more towards the studying.
If there was something that Coach recommended for you guys to be doing outside of wrestling, would that be it? Be the studying?
For sure, for sure. He does a good job of keeping after us about our schoolwork, and, you know, always want to look good off the mat as well as on the mat. So I mean, we want to bring our team GPA up and show the school that we're doing the right things outside of the wrestling room as well as inside the wrestling room, and just be a successful program in all aspects of our life.
Well, that's good to know that Coach is motivating you guys in that way. Are there any goals that you guys as a team have set for the season that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, just going off the academic thing, it's our goal to have above a 3.0 GPA as a team. And then our goal is to be Southern Conference champions again. We'll be going for our third one in a row, so that's always a really big goal for us, is to be the best in our conference. And then in the last 2 years, we've broken the top 25 teams in the country, and for one, we want to stay in the top 25, but we also want to start breaking into that top 15, top 10. Just if you're not improving, you're getting worse. So we want to just keep pushing and growing as a team and getting better. So, you know, I'd say those are, and it's always our goal to have multiple All-Americans at the end of the season.
That's great. It's good to know that you guys are motivated on and off the night. Well, it was nice spending time with you, Forrest. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us for a little bit.
This week's Player of the Week goes to freshman Lainey Gosnell of the women's basketball team. Against Davidson on Sunday, Lainey made her first career start and scored a team-high 20 points.
She is from Demorest, Georgia, and will be majoring in exercise science here at App State. And here at the A game, we're proud of Lainey's standout game, and we're looking forward to watching her and the women's basketball team the rest of the season. Congratulations, Lainey.
Thanks for joining us here on the A game this week. We will not have a show next week due to Thanksgiving, but be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook.
Again, don't forget about this week's games on campus. If you can't be here to cheer on your Mountaineers, keep up with the black and gold by following us on Twitter.
We will rejoin you in December to bring you more App State sports coverage. But until then, for Ashley Smith, Sam Moore, and everyone else here at the A game, have a great Thanksgiving.